Today, I'd like to share my ideas on why girls' health education and overall body awareness is so indispensable in adolescence, and how educating a girl about these topics will ultimately change her life and empower a community. Girls' health and adolescent health overall has been vastly overlooked in the public health arena. When adolescent health is talked about, it's never talked about, or hardly ever talked about, in relation to gender. And when it's talked about in relation to gender, it's often enmeshed with maternal and child health. The current literature does this, and it makes it very easy to overlook this crucial window of opportunity where girl youth are developing who they will be for the rest of their lives. We have a structural problem. So, another one of the most pressing issues facing us today is gender inequality in education. Gender inequality in education, if mitigated, will be the key to unlocking girls' potential, both being able to mitigate poverty and stop gender-based violence will unlock and harness the potential that girls have to offer. See, girls are more vulnerable than the other gender in relation to physical abuse, sexual abuse, and assault, as well as a severe lack of knowledge about their own bodies. 15 to 25% of all girls have experienced some type of trauma before or during adolescence. 15 to 25%, I just want you to let that sink in. And this is of reported cases. Girls are the most vulnerable group in our society, but have been vastly ignored. So, how many of you have smartphones? I'd like you to raise your hand. I know we were told to turn off our phones, but if you like, sometimes throughout my talk, I'd like you to Google the terms teen health, women's health, and ultimately girls' health. And think about what comes up. Look at the results that come up on your screen. So when I did this little experiment, when I Googled women's health, many publications on reproduction, marriage, how to improve our sex lives, that came up. When I Googled teen health, a lot came up on STDs, a lot came up on pregnancy. When I Googled girls' health, guess what? Almost nothing at all. Almost nothing at all. So, brings me back to my idea that we have a structural problem. And because of the structural problem, we're limiting the potential to make our impacts larger and to make them powerful. Because we have such a limited outlook and a limited view. So, let me tell you a little bit about my story. When I was about 12 or 13 years of age, my mother woke my younger siblings and I up in the middle of the night to leave an abusive household, and we fled. We left our comfortable suburban hometown, and we fled. We drove in a car miles and miles to a new city. We didn't know where we were going. We didn't know what to do. My mom had left her job, and she'd left her abusive husband, my stepfather. We fled to a new city, and upon arriving there, we had to live in shelters and transitional homes, working to get our lives back on track. And these experiences took a major toll on my health, both emotionally and physically. I battled with weight loss most of my teenage years, and I also battled with eating disorders, which most of my friends don't know until now. And so I actually was able to overcome these issues because of my mother, because she was strong, and she showed me a lot of love. But I also contribute a lot of my success to the health education courses that I had in middle and high school. When I was finally armed with the information I needed to take control of my health, not only did my body change, but my self-esteem morphed along with it. I grew to be more confident, more attentive in class, more self-sufficient. I was also better equipped to handle the social pressures I faced at school. However, having had health education, I am one of the lucky ones. So there's a quote that a lot of us have heard over and over again. If you educate a boy, you educate a person, but if you educate a girl, you educate a family and empower a community. However, I dare to take it a step further to say that if you educate a girl about her health, you will ultimately improve her life and the quality and status of women worldwide. There is a cost associated with waiting until adulthood to educate a girl about her body. So, we've heard the bad news, but there is some good news. We as an international community have taken steps towards the recognition of the importance of girls' health education, most importantly, of the education of girls overall. So Malala Day is a great example of this. A UN-designated day to honor Pakistani teen activist Malala Yousafzai for her bravery. But the bad news is that we need to take this buzz, this energy that we have, and we need to turn it into concrete action. One thing that we need to do is eliminate the stigma surrounding the term health education. Health education is not simply about reproductive health or even physical health overall, but it's about head to toe, inside and out wellness. We also need to start thinking of girls as people instead of their said reproductive responsibilities to society. Because a lot of life goes on, let's face it, outside of marriage and pregnancy. So how do we do this? How do we then translate these ideas and this energy that we have into concrete action? So school and community-based adolescent health, I believe, is one of the key answers. One thing that most people don't know, unless you have seen it firsthand or have heard about it from someone or may have studied it, is not common knowledge, but there's a scary correlation between the onset of menstruation in girls and school attendance worldwide. Very scary correlation. Girls tend to drop out of school after they hit the age of menstruation. So, what I think that we need to do are three things. Health education should have three components. Should focus on positive development, individual achievement and goal setting, and community inclusion. We need to include girls in all areas of society in our communities. All interventions must also be relevant and applicable to daily life and day-to-day challenges. And these programs will look different in each country, depending on the challenges that are being faced every day. So in more developed countries, let's use the United States, for example, a course on body image that's standardized in our schools, I think could greatly benefit girls. And in developing countries, perhaps a course on menstruation management could be beneficial. So let's talk a little bit about where donor funds are going. We still have a lot of unfinished business in child and maternal health. That's something that we can't deny. However, girls' health education prevents a lot of the problems that we face once we become women. We need a comprehensive education. In 2014, we'll reach the end of the International Conference on Population and Development, and in 2015, we'll reach the end of our Millennium Development Goals. We have a crucial window of opportunity here to advance the health agenda. We can make sure that girls are no longer ignored and that health education reaches the top of the list. So how can we do this? How can we then advance this global agenda and ensure that girls are being put at the forefront of the discussion? Well, it's going to take the right combination of policy, public education, programming, but also redirecting research towards prevention. Let's be a proactive society instead of reactive society. Also, any successful effort will also include multiple players, but most importantly, girl youth themselves. Adolescent girls' health is not only essential to the betterment of the public health field and health education overall, as well as the improvement of education globally, but is also vastly important to improving the quality of life and status of women and all people worldwide. Thank you.